Welcome back to Torah in 10, Parshas Bereishit. I'm Jody Berkel, and I'm so excited to be here with you again. Rabbi Sacks of Blessed memory teaches us that God believes in us, even if we don't always believe in ourselves. He says, remember this, and you will find the path from darkness to light. This is a powerful statement, but how do we know it's true? We have to go back to the beginning. Well, here we are. The Torah opens describing the creation of the universe. Repeatedly, we read, and God said, let there be, and there was, until we come to the creation of humankind. Suddenly, we notice a change. God says, let us make man. Rabbi Sacks says this signals some hesitation, some consultation, and doubt on the part of God. So we have two questions. First, who is us? And second, this is the only time that God verbally reflects on what he is about to create before he creates it. Says Rabbi Sacks, at the time, there was no us, there was only God. But the Talmud gives us an answer. The us refers to the angels with whom God consulted. He did so because he was faced with a dilemma. By creating human beings, there would be one life form that has the power to choose between obedience and disobedience, good and evil, using the earth for positive means or destroying it altogether. In bringing humanity to the world, the Talmud is telling us that the existence of humankind can only be explained by the fact that God has faith in us. This is unbelievable. The creator of the world has faith in me and you. That's what Rabbi Sacks is telling us. More than we have faith in God, God has faith in us. We're here for a purpose. We matter. God doesn't want robots or angels, for that matter, who have no choice but to do what he wants. In creating us with free will, that's the ability to make choices. We decide the type of life that we want to lead. We can act in a way that brings us closer to God and to others, or to make choices that do the opposite. Rabbi Sacks says the real subject of the Torah is not our faith in God, which is often faltering, but his unwavering faith in us. God never stops believing in us, loving us, and hoping for the best from us. It's not all roses, though, right? There are moments when God almost loses hope. We read in our Parsha that God saw how wicked the human race had become on earth. God regretted that he made us, and he was grieved to his very core. Just when we think all is lost, we're introduced to Noah, who God has faith in and was prepared to give it another try. Many people struggle with their faith in God. We look at our lives and we look at our history and we question our faith. But is that the question that we should be asking? The example Rabbi Sacks uses here is very personal to me and helped me reframe my experience visiting Auschwitz-Birkenau, where my grandparents lost their entire families and were imprisoned for years. Rabbi Sacks asks, how can anyone have faith in humanity after the Holocaust? It was the single most calculated, sustained crime of man against man that didn't happen in some third world country, but in the highly educated, civilized, and cultured country of Europe. Many people, when referring to the Holocaust, ask, where was God? I don't blame them. I asked this question too. But then I read Rabbi Sacks's experience when he visited there. He said he didn't think of where was God because it was God who gave us the commandments, don't murder, don't steal, don't oppress the stranger. When I stood at the crematoriums in Auschwitz, I thought, God didn't build this. If you read through the Torah, God doesn't stop Cain from killing his brother Abel. He doesn't stop the Egyptians from enslaving the Israelites. God does not save us from ourselves. That's why, according to the Talmud, it was such a risk to create human beings. The question that haunts Rabbi Sacks after the Holocaust was, where was man? There may be times in our lives, I know I'm not alone, that we despair or we lose hope. People can be brutal to each other. We've all been hurt, and we look around the world, and it can be a very depressing place. That's one of the reasons I don't watch the news. I actually don't. I made a promise to myself many years ago after watching the news and seeing that through their lens, the world looks like a pretty awful place. And I know better, that despite the bad news, because that's what sells, I ain't buying it. The world is an amazing place filled with the most incredible, giving, caring people. But you don't see that on CNN. Rabbi Sacks says, we can lose faith in humanity, in ourselves, or both. During these times, knowing that God has faith in us can help us transform the darkness into the light. We may make mistakes, disappoint, and fall short again and again, but God never stops forgiving us when we fail and lifts us when we fall. In Rabbi Sacks's beautiful words, we may lose heart. God never will. We may despair. God will give us hope. God believes in us more than we believe in ourselves. What a beautiful message to begin the Torah with. Wishing you all a Shabbat Shalom.